This is posture alignment, the same horse on the same day before and after I worked it. Posture and performance are intrinsically linked. As a saddle fitter, rider and instructor, I felt there was not enough information to inform the way that saddles should be adjusted. Essentially the route required from poor posture to happy and healthy athletes. The information available was at best contradictory, so 5 years ago I set myself a research project to study all the horses I worked with. I originally wanted to quantify what constituted good conformation and analyse how classically trained methods change the shape of a horse's back, specifically in relation to saddle fit. Realising that the information I gained through our research enabled me to actually influence the posture and create good conformation has been a major benefit that I didn't expect. Seeing the horses that I've worked with improve in performance, behaviour and soundness is incredibly rewarding. This is a horse that was diagnosed with kissing spine. The vet prescribed an initial 6 weeks of groundwork to see if, with correct rehab, they could avoid having to go down the route of medication and operation. If you look at the top line of this horse in isolation, this horse's back doesn't look so unhealthy. But when you consider the whole horse, the hind leg posture is seriously compromised. Good conformation dictates you should have a plumb line that runs from the point of the buttock, hock, then fetlock, with the cannon bones running perpendicular to the ground. You should also have a diagonal line running from the stifle to hock. You can see this horse has a stifle to hock line which is almost vertical, with the cannon bones on an inward slant. This is caused by the pelvis rotated in a clockwise direction as you look at the image. The aim to rehabilitate this mare in her current state is limited by the goat stance she is currently adopting. My alignment technique uses yoga-style exercises, encouraging the horse to stretch, working with the exhalation of their breath. I use a saddle as a tool to manipulate the changes in posture. This can be done on the lunge or ridden. I don't do any manual manipulation, but I create the appropriate resistance for the horse to stretch into based on the fit of the saddle. This process can be carried out in walk and is entirely guided by the horse's responses. At each step of the process, I measure and analyse the changes, then make adjustments to the saddle to help the horse find a more comfortable place to be. In the course of my research, I discovered that horses' backs follow very different developments according to type. I divided them into 3 major types. 1. Uphill or level draft backs. 2. The thoroughbred back. And 3. The croup high, draft or native pony backs. As the majority of the sport horses have originated by crossing a draft horse with a thoroughbred, there is potential to have any one of the 3 types. For the purpose of this video, I'm looking at category 1, the draft backs. This mare is 50% Irish, 50% thoroughbred, and she's taken after the draft side. This horse has so far had 4 weeks of groundwork since the diagnosis. On this occasion, the owner had already lunged the mare in walk and trot in both directions before I took over. My intention is to encourage the activity of the hind legs and asking the horse to lift her back into the shape of the saddle with connection down the rein. She starts off short striding with minimal movement through the back, but she gradually relaxes the rib cage, and with the exhalation of the breath, the movement and activity gradually improves until the horse starts moving freely behind, with more movement through the back and offering good open-throated stretch down the rein. Then I repeat the process on the other rein. After the horse has worked and improvement has been seen, I then take the saddle off, assess the changes that have occurred in the horse's body, then change the saddle accordingly and repeat either lunging or riding. On this occasion, stage 2 and 3 were ridden in walk. The process is usually a minimum of 3 steps to align the body to a more comfortable posture. Some horses can make significant changes within one day, like this mare, whilst others the same process is followed but time is required between each step to allow the horse time to develop. The better a saddle fits, the quicker you expect changes to occur. It's important to remember that a previously well-fitted saddle may no longer fit due to positive improvements in the horse's body. When the horse changes shape and the fit of the saddle is in need of adjustment, some slight negative effects influence the shape and posture of the horse's back. My alignment process is also applied between each saddle adjustment to make sure the horse continues to develop in the correct pattern according to its back type. I take measurements with a bendy ruler. Line 1 is taken at the shoulders at the widest part. Line 2 is taken 2 fingers width behind the furthest back scapula, and line 3 is at the last rib, and then a measurement following the top line of the back. This is an example of the records I take. Line 1 is at the bottom, line 2 is in the middle, and line 3 is at the top. Line 2 gives me the angle of the rib cage, but I also compare the changes in width. With line 1 and 2, I take a line down 15 cm from the peak and measure the total width at that point. With line 3, the measure is 10 cm from the peak. If we compare the before and after pictures, I can tell you that the shoulders in line 1 have increased by 0.6 cm. Line 2 behind the shoulders decreased by 3.4 cm. But significantly the rib cage angle went from 97 degrees to 114 degrees, and line 3 increased by 3 centimeters. And on the top line, the spinal process is lifted by 3 centimeters. When you put this information into the context of saddle fit, it's easy to misinterpret the changes. As she's decreased in total width, it can give the impression that the saddle has become too wide. If this width is decreased by decreasing the angle in the saddle, it means that the rib cage angle will be too narrow and will be detrimental to the progression and well-being. The uphill draft backs continue to get wider in the rib cage angle as their development continues. By comparing the before and after pictures and seeing the drastic improvement in the posture, plus the improvement in movement and tension, it proves to me that the changes in measurements are correct for this horse. If I analyse the changes that have occurred to her posture, I know that the shape she's now in is significantly improved. She now has a straight line from the point of buttock, hock and fetlock. The angle between the stifle and the hock is now diagonal. The goat stance has been replaced with a leg at each corner. Her spinal processes have lifted and are now higher than her croup. The pelvis angle has rotated anti-clockwise and the neck and whole body has lengthened. All my measurements and observations would indicate that spinal processes have separated. I will eagerly await the new X-rays in a few weeks' time. This is not the end of the changes for this mare, but by correcting her hind leg posture, it means that the groundwork she does from now on is going to be far more constructive. She'll now be able to engage her hind leg and start building up muscle and strength with correct biomechanics. I hope you've enjoyed my video. This is Liv Mcgann and Live Life Saddles.